What is Orion? Orion is a steel roller coaster located at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio, USA. The ride opened to the public as the tallest roller coaster in the park, standing a huge 88 meters, 287 feet high. Though, due to the nature of the terrain at Kings Island, Orion features a 91 meter, 300 foot drop. This allows it to claim the title of a giga coaster, a roller coaster that stands between 300 feet, 91 meters, and 400 feet, 122 meters. In fact, the ride became the 5th giga coaster in North America and the 10th tallest roller coaster in the world upon its debut. Though, Orion is only the latest in a long line of unique and record-breaking attractions to grace Kings Island, which begins back with the park's debut in 1972. Kings Island opened to guests for the first time with Racer, a twin racing wooden roller coaster being its flagship ride. Racer instantly became a popular attraction at the park and was even featured in an episode of The Brady Bunch, a popular American sitcom at the time. Because of this, it's credited as helping to reignite the world's interest in theme parks after the steady decline seen during the decades prior. Nevertheless, Racer became the first of Kings Island's long line of world-class rides. 1977 saw the construction of Demon, one of the world's first launched roller coasters, while only 2 years later, the park opened The Beast, the world's tallest, fastest, and longest wooden roller coaster. At this point, Kings Island was beginning to be a landmark attraction on the theme park map. Its status was only improved with the debut of the Bat in 1981, the world's first modern suspended roller coaster. This saw guests swing freely beneath the track as they navigated the course. Despite closing after only 2 years of operation due to its unreliable nature caused by mechanical problems, Kings Island continued to innovate. In 1984, they introduced North America to the stand-up coaster, a ride which sees guests navigate the track standing up rather than sitting down, with the construction of King Cobra. A single year later, they tore down the Bat to make way for another big addition in 1987, Vortex. Vortex opened as the world's first roller coaster to feature 6 inversions and featured the tallest drop on any steel coaster at the time. Just under a decade later, Kings Island, alongside sister park Kings Dominion, introduced the first magnetic launch coasters to the world. Outer Limit Flight of Fear originally opened in 1996, themed to The Outer Limits, a Canadian-American TV series. Designed to look like a military base, guests would enter through Hangar 18 of the Bureau of Paranormal Activity. Inside, they see alien-like figures sealed in chambers before getting to experience alien technology for themselves. Interestingly, it would be this theme that Orion would expand on nearly 25 years later. But Kings Island didn't stop there. For the 2000 season, they debuted a now infamous attraction, Son of Beast. The ride shattered the records, becoming the tallest and fastest wooden roller coaster in the world. On top of this, it was also the first modern wooden coaster to feature an inversion. Similar to the Bat, the ride's life was relatively short-lived. The loop was removed in 2006, before the ride closed forever in 2009 due to a multitude of reoccurring issues. Immediately after Son of Beast, the park went for safer, less innovative developments. Backlot Stunt Coaster, a family multi-launch coaster, opened in 2005, followed by the relocation of Firehawk, a Vekoma flying coaster, from Giga Lake to Kings Island in 2007. Diamondback, a B&M hypercoaster, debuted in 2009 as the park's tallest and fastest roller coaster, whilst 2014 saw the construction of Banshee, the world's longest and fastest full-circuit inverted coaster on the former site of Son of Beast. Then, 3 years later, Kings Island installed Mystic Timbers, a fast-paced, modern wooden roller coaster. But let's go back a decade. In 2007, the current owners of the park, Cedar Fair, purchased 5 parks, including Kings Island. In the years following, the chain began to invest heavily. 3 of these parks gained B&M hypercoasters, Diamondback at Kings Island, Intimidator at Carowinds, and Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland. All measured over 200 feet, 61 meters high, and featured a similar design. Then, in 2012, Canada's Wonderland opened another ride, Leviathan. Standing 306 feet, 93 meters tall, their new roller coaster was a giga coaster, built by the same manufacturer as Behemoth. 3 years later, Carowinds debuted Fury 325, a second giga coaster just like Leviathan. Shortly after, Kings Island began to build a new roller coaster. Many hoped it would be a giga coaster, but instead, Mystic Timbers opened to guests in 2017. Skip forward to 2018, and the park announced Firehawk, their flying roller coaster, would be removed for the 2019 season. Shortly after its demolition, something new emerged. The park began teasing their next attraction, dubbed Project X. Would this be Kings Island's long-awaited giga coaster? Teasers for Project X were in full force by July of 2019. Over the period of just a few days, posters began to appear scattered across the fence surrounding the former site of Firehawk. These posters featured multiple rides, all of which operated at the park at one point in time. Each poster also featured information about the ride, including research partner, the manufacturer of the attraction, the amount of tests administered, the amount of riders that experienced the attraction, and test purpose, the description of the attraction's defining feature. A letter could also be found besides this information, which in order spelt Teotihuacan. This was later discovered to be an acronym for The End of the World as We Know It. Later that month, the park created a change.org page which demanded answers about what was happening behind the fence. The website stated that the area was suspected to be storage for extraterrestrial spaceflight technology. It also claimed that aerial imagery of the site showed cryptic messages of the end approaching. A comment on the petition page exclaimed that there had been an incident in Hangar 18, the building home to Flight of Fear. Finally, the park made a statement to reveal their secret on the 15th of August 2019. On that very day, Kings Island announced that Project X was in fact Orion, a brand new B&M giga coaster which would be built on the former site of Firehawk. Worth $30 million, the ride would cost as much as it did to construct and debut the whole of Kings Island back in 1972. The park also announced the retheme of the X-Base area of the park, now home to Flight of Fear and Orion, into Area 72, a secret research facility studying the effects of flight on humans. To reflect the theme of the new attraction, Flight of Fear's exterior was given burn marks, while meteor debris was created on the ground outside. New elements were also added to the ride's queue line, further linking the two roller coasters together. The overall area was also adjusted to appear more like a military outpost, with buildings being renamed and reimagined to fit the space theme. Additionally, at the entrance of Area 72, a station wagon broadcasts Word Radio, a fictional radio station with hosts discussing conspiracy theories about what's occurring inside the base. Finally, on the 2nd of July 2020, Orion opened to the public. To experience the ride, guests first traverse through the entrance portal, which has been built using Firehawk's old photo booth. Partway through the queue line, guests enter a Quonset hut. Here, riders are briefed on their mission. Visitors are actually volunteers ready to test the outpost's latest technology, Project X, formerly known as the Orion sequence. This is the 10th test in a line of other spaceflight experiments, all of which are references to the attractions used in the initial teasers. Within the hut, guests see a range of theming, including schematics of the new ride, as well as older rides at the park, astronaut-like jumpsuits for volunteers, and more. Following the briefing, guests then navigate through the remainder of the queue and enter the station building. At this point, it's time for them to partake in the Orion sequence. Visitors board one of 3 vehicles. Each one consists of 8 cars, which seats guests in single rows of 4. This leads to a total of 32 riders per train. The large vehicle capacity allows Orion to achieve a high throughput of 1,650 riders per hour. Once they're ready, guests immediately leave the station building. A small segment of track later, and the trains begin their climb. Volunteers ascend 88 meters, 287 feet into the air on what has become the park's tallest roller coaster. At the top, guests then stare down the giant 91-meter, 300-foot tall drop. A natural dip in the terrain below the ride allows visitors to fall an extra 13 feet, giving Orion the Giga Coaster classification. Nevertheless, the trains plummet towards the ground at the maximum vertical angle of 85 degrees. As they do this, visitors reach the top speed of 147 km per hour, 91 miles per hour. After traversing the drop, riders then climb into a heavily banked turn to the left. A second drop later sees the trains climb once more and fall back towards the ground through a spiraling banked turn to the right. Riders then bank quickly to the left and power through a low to the ground speed hill. At this point, they climb into another airtime hill. As the trains descend the hill, they bank right and begin to enter an upward right-hand helix. At the top, visitors continue their right-hand turn while dropping towards the floor. They then climb an upward left-hand turn, traverse a small drop, and descend into the final brake run. Over the entire ride, guests travel across 1,622 meters, 5,321 feet of track, making Orion the park's longest steel roller coaster. Most of this takes place within approximately 53 seconds of actual ride time measured from the top of the lift hill to the final brake run. The debut of Orion was met with great excitement by many fans of Kings Island. Over the years, the speculation surrounding a giga coaster being built at the park grew, with many hoping one would open soon. Management at the park stated they'd carefully chosen 2020 as the best time to introduce Orion to the world, though it was nearly given a different name. Kings Island's parent company, Cedar Fair, filed 2 trademarks for potential names, Orion and Polaris. Both names refer to celestial objects, with Polaris being the North Star and Orion referencing the constellation. Overall, Orion has quickly become a beloved ride at the park. Many enjoy its fast-paced nature, quoting it to be extremely re-rideable. Although it isn't the world's tallest giga coaster, it is an excellent roller coaster. Orion provides a fantastic all-round experience and complements the other attractions at the park perfectly. Interestingly, it's the second new roller coaster at Kings Island to receive a somewhat detailed backstory and theme. Now, both Mystic Timbers and Orion are more than just roller coasters. Would you like to see the park continue this trend, or perhaps put even more effort into theming in the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and pressing the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I upload. Perhaps a follow on Twitter or Instagram would be cool too. I'll put the links in the description below.